This is really cool. Sort of. Kind of hot in here. We're really glad to be here. We're the ASU Hayes School of Music Trumpet Ensemble, often referred to as the trumpet choir. In the Hayes School of Music, we have a flute choir, we have a clarinet choir, we have a trombone choir, we have a tuba, euphonium ensemble that's called a collective. So we have all these smaller ensembles, and Justin Butler, thank you for the invitation. We got the invitation earlier around August through our dean, and I was the only one who kind of took the bait. And the fact is, we're so happy to be here and to be able to play for you and your community and for CCC&TI. Is that correct? That's right. Okay. We're really happy. So what you're going to hear today are a number of different kinds of pieces. We're trying to do a variety. There'll be original pieces written for this ensemble. There'll be transcriptions of brass ensemble works that are kind of pared down from horns, trombones, tubas. We're going to play them all on trumpets, okay? And then we're going to have transcriptions of both sacred and secular music from the Renaissance. These beautiful four-part chorales. It's very much, choir-like music that we studied so that we can learn to play together in tune with the beautiful sound. That is the purpose of the trumpet choir. And also the purpose is to really challenge them with some literature that's really quite difficult. And then you'll hear we'll do an arrangement of a Broadway tune. This year we're celebrating 100 years of Leonard Bernstein, and we're going to do one of his pieces from West Side Story. Like I said, I try to challenge them as much as I can. This first piece we're going to play is a fanfare. It's called, and if you have a program, Stadtwein, and it's by Richard Strauss. It's from the probably early part of the 20th century. And then a good friend of mine he was a member of the United States Air Force Band, and he's done quite a few arrangements that we're going to do today, and I'll let you know when they are. His name is Michael Huff. He's not here today, but I'm telling you, he's one of the best arrangers for this and brass and band in general. He was one of the members of the band, and when they had small ensembles, he was one of the members in the United States Air Force Band. So the first thing we're going to start with is Strauss. like to do, especially since ASU is in this area, is try to make connections between our institutions. And today, it's really an honor to be able to be on this particular campus and to be able to play for you, not only the community, but also for students. I understand we have students from the CCC, and we also have some of the early college folks. Is that correct? Yes, great. I know that we are in the state of North Carolina trying to make more connections between the community colleges and the four-year universities. And you know, I know that musically speaking, Justin is working hard to make that happen, and we're glad to have that. I've had a number of folks who have transferred in from two-year institutions, from North Carolina, also from Virginia and Tennessee. So we're always happy to make that transition and to offer those kinds of degrees, four-year degrees, and inspire people to be musicians in their community. And I won't go too far, but I do believe that very much the arts in our community is really needed, and it is very much a fingerprint of our culture. I think it's very much part of our identity, and we try to, even though we're playing stuff from Germany and U.S. and European, and I even have played Asian music before, we bring all of that stuff together to really to identify with our audiences and our country at large and our communities. So I think that deserves some applause, don't you think? The next piece we're going to do is another transcription by Michael Huff. It is, if you have a program, you'll see it is by Casal. Pablo Casal was a wonderful musician in our time over the 20th century, and he wrote a number of beautiful pieces. He was also an amazing cellist. So one of the things that he wrote this for Holy Week. It is a sacred tune. It's just got all these shimmering kind of sounds. You'll hear dissonance that is really applicable and is brought out a lot by high voices, you know, sopranos in a choir. You'll hear a lot of soprano in this. Okay? Hope you enjoy it. This is O Vos Omne. next piece we're going to do is Three Madrigals. That's the way it's titled. It actually represents literature from three different composers. They're all from the Renaissance. Some crossed over to early Baroque. Once again, these are four-part harmonies, and they work really well. Very similar. I mean, I love that last piece we played. This has a variety of things. This is a secular piece, and it had, or they're secular pieces, and they were usually sung by four voices, and most of the time it was a bass, two tenors, and then a countertenor, which was very high. So this was all, most of the time, that's the way those were done. The first is My Heart to Thee, Thou Makes Its Plea, and that's Orlando Losses. The Silver Swan is second. That's a little slower. And Lo, Country Sports by Thomas Wilkes. And that concludes, and if you would not mind holding your applause until we're done with all three. And then we're going to take about a 5-minute, 7-minute intermission, because it's a lot of work to play the trumpet. And then we'll come back and we're going to play some more for you. All right? Thank you. This is the Three Madrigals. maybe we should open the doors a little.
It was on the radio. I had to go back. It was on the radio. NPR was covering it. I just saw it. They pretty much said
Secretary called me. I should be back.
I heard that at first, because of the
She said, okay, 2 days on
I had it on the schedule. I asked her to and I wanted anyway, she messaged me and I'm like, I can't text you. In the middle of the we will talk. I think it's a Monday and a Tuesday, one day a week, and then Monday evening. But she's doing it. I don't know whether she's going to do it by herself. She hasn't done it. I mean, I guess I could just leadership. So I'm sure that's what's every day. I'm sure it would have been popped up. Doesn't seem necessary. It's weird. She said they asked her to teach it. And Justin, we're going to teach it now. It's in the highway, but it's not necessarily a highway. They just put I'm not sure how she could Holly figured she had the same degree. The course description looks like leadership, which she would really I will say it's better use of teacher. I was surprised about that. I kind of believe that. But I do think yes. She's been hit more. I think last time it was but it does, ASU has a leadership, ASU leadership development. And it's a way to get out of business. Yeah, see, there's leadership process, leadership styles, we've got to mix more and emphasis on leadership. And I guess it doesn't really have a measure there. It does. It shows we have an identified analyst personal philosophy, style leadership, and
It'll still work. When you go out, it's like, reach up.
And at this point in time, you don't have time to plan it out. It's probably already working. So you're already able to, like, you're just basically something else will change.
So, like I've said in the past, the part of the challenge of I said earlier that part of the challenge of being, hey, you guys can come in now. Part of the challenge for this group, especially for some of the upperclassmen, is that I gave that to them last Friday. They learned that in 2 rehearsals, and they played that for you today. Okay, so it's a part of the challenge is, especially in musicians in this time, there's not a lot of time for rehearsal. It's you have to come and you put something together very quickly and you perform it at that level. So that's one of the exercises we try to do with everybody. Treat them at this point, the transition is from student to professional. And that's a really good example. Those guys did a really nice job. That was a piece called, and it's not on your program, it's called Entrada. It's the first movement of a piece for 5 trumpets. It's called, it's written by Ronald Lopresti, and he was a trumpet player, composer, wrote pieces for trumpet ensemble, and it literally, I wouldn't have done it normally, but I knew those guys could do it, so I just made it a challenge for them. The next piece we're going to go back to the Renaissance. This is sacred music. It is Circuit Servus. I'm sure I slaughtered that pronunciation. But it is done by John Irish, who is actually one of our past International Trumpet Guild presidents, which he's done a number of arranging, but this is another quartet. This really beautifully set for trumpet choir, originally for madrigals of 4 voices, in the same description I said before, but it's transcribed for soprano voices for trumpet. Okay, as promised, we're going to do a Broadway show tune from West Side Story. It's Somewhere. We're celebrating, once again, 100 years of Leonard Bernstein. This work was written in late 1950s, early 1960s, and it was arranged for trumpet choir by a former colleague who passed away last year. He's a very good friend of, you may have known him. He was the director of the marching band, Band of Distinction at ASU for many years. His name was Joe Phelps. He also was a fabulous trumpet teacher and a great colleague and one of my great mentors. So in any case, the work that he did, and we are just, there are many things he arranged, but it gives us great honor to honor him by doing some of the arrangements that he's done. So this is Somewhere from West Side Story. So we are really happy to be here. We're glad that we can make these connections. Glad that we can play great music for you all. And thank you, Justin. Where are you? You might be backstage. Anyway, oh, where is he? He's backstage. Thanks to him again for inviting us to do this. We have one more piece that we're going to play. And then also afterwards, if anybody has any questions about anything that we can answer about, actually I have an advisor with me today, and hopefully he can answer some questions with, he's one of our drivers. So if you have questions, students, about ASU, he might be able to help you with that. And we can also talk to you about Can and Music Camp. We can talk to you, did he just wave? Yes, that's Kim Hamilton, he's Kim. And then Can and Music Camp in the summer times. We have concerts constantly on our campus. You can always look online. If you go to the Hayes School of Music, the ASU webpage, you can see a button you click on. And last night in my living room, I was watching at least 3 or 4 of these folks playing the jazz band at home because I had to wait for my son. He was coming in late. So we take those opportunities not to broadcast so parents can see what we're doing, and so that the world, if you're looking at ASU for music, for anything else, opportunities there online too. All right, so I encourage you to look that in. If there's ever any questions that we can answer, we're always, you can only an email away. Okay, so please, and we're once again really happy to be here and be a part of it. I know they're enjoying it. I got to take them out to Bojangles. So. Okay, so last piece we're going to do is called Infinite Ascent. It's by Eric Morales. He's a composer in residence at Grand Valley State University. He's written a number of pieces for concert band. He's taken some of those pieces and transcribed them for trumpet ensemble. This piece was written specifically for trumpet ensemble. The 5 pieces we played earlier, specifically for trumpet ensemble. And what you'll hear is basically 2 choirs. They're divided pretty much right in the middle. Where's choir 2? This way. Choir 1 is over there. So you hear a little back and forth. So it's almost like 2 bands. You know? It's divided into 8 parts. And you'll hear all sorts of stuff like you've heard throughout this piece, close harmonies, very chorale-like harmonies. And if you can imagine the infinite ascent up a mountain, so you can hear the clouds open up, and so it's all in its programmatic piece. So thank you again for having us today. We are the ASU Hayes School of Music Trumpet Choir, and it's been an honor to play for you today.